Crookie, let's get into some transfer rumours with you. Liam Delap to Nottingham Forest. I mean, they need him.
They do, based on those first couple of performances, losing twice to Leeds. Obviously, you heard there Jim Proudfoot saying isolated boos at the end of the game at the City Ground live on talkSPORT 2. Done deal, guaranteed £45 million. That'll be a club record for Nottingham Forest. Big money for a player who only scored once, I think, in 28 Premier League games last season. But I think he'll do well there. I think he's the type of striker that suits what Oliver Glasner wants his team to do. I always felt like the step up from Ipswich to Chelsea probably happened a little bit too quickly for Liam Delap, and he's taken his time. There was interest from the likes of Leeds and Everton and Cesc Fabregas's Como over in Italy as well, but he's decided this is the move for him, and hopefully it works out because there's a shortage, there's a dearth of English strikers who are going to fill the void left by Harry Kane. I think if he can get back to the sort of form he showed at Ipswich, then he's someone who can force his way into that England team eventually.
Yeah, I saw a lot of him, or maybe not enough of him, but I totally agree that the jump from Chelsea was probably, he needed that middle move, and that middle move should have been a club like Forest. So yeah. I wish him all the very, very best. Baleba to Manchester United has been done. It's been now officially announced.
Yeah, he signed a contract until 2031. There's a year's option on the end of that as well. And I think Manchester United are quite pleased with themselves to land him for around £70 million, bearing in mind Brighton were talking £100 million plus this time a year ago. Didn't have a great season. He's injured, which is always a bit of a problem when you turn up at a new club injured. But
hold on, Crookie. Hold on, mate. I've got to stop you there, right? Because I've heard this guff from you and Gabby today, all right? Going on about Spurs overspending, overpaying for players.
Whoa,
all right?
wait,
and I can't believe Crookie has got the cheek to come on here as a Man United fan and say that Baleba's a good deal at 70 million. He was guff last season. He didn't play.
I think you'll find Baleba at 70 million is going to be better value for money than Savinho at 85.
Oh, mate, you're talking absolute crap.
I'll have a little bet for you. Let's have a little bet. Who has the better season?
You signed Anthony for 75 million. You sold Pogba for £100 million.
What's going on here? Why are you two falling out?
No, but
hold on, what's going on?
Because I keep hearing Crookie go on like Man United are doing good deals.
What's happening here? Why are you two
rowing?
Like
Spurs are spending too much money on players. Like,
we'll have a forfeit at the end of the season, Jamie. Jason can judge at the end of the season. Whoever makes more impact for their club, Baleba or Savinho, the loser has to do a show. You do it in a United shirt. I'll do it in a
Crookie. Savinho could score 25 goals this season, and Cundy will still say Baleba's at it.
Baleba's going to be the better player. Baleba's going to be the better player.
It's a pointless bet.
No, he will be.
I'm just sick to death of seeing Crookie come on, going on like Spurs, just because we've got cash to spend, right? And we're throwing it about, right? And everyone's getting yumper about it.
Hold on.
You know who you are, Jamie.
What's
you know
going
what Tottenham are. You know when you're a kid and you get your first Saturday job, right? It could be at a supermarket, it could be in a restaurant, it could be in a bar, and you get your first pay packet and you spend it in 24 hours.
What's wrong with you two? Jay.
We've
all done it, mate. Went out and bought Bentley with my signing on.
Jay. Jay, hold on. Calm down, you two. I feel like the referee. No, I've got Crookie over there. I've got you. Hold on, you two. Right? No. Sorry. Stop throwing punches. What's your beef?
I ain't got a beef. I'm just like everyone's just jealous of Tottenham.
No one's jealous of Spurs.
They're jealous because we can get big money in.
Who's jealous of Spurs? Name the team.
Gabby's so jealous of Tottenham, right? Because his poor team.
No, Gabby's jealous of anyone who spends money. I'll give you that one. But I think Baleba at 70 million quid could be decent business. I get what you're saying. He wasn't brilliant last year. He was the previous season. I'm just not having Savinho as an 85 million quid player. Doesn't matter if it's Tottenham, Arsenal, Liverpool, whoever signs him. I can't.
Man United.
Well, I'm glad we've not paid 85 million for him. Can I give you?
You paid 85 million for transfer
fees. Talk about transfer fees. Let's give you a bit of a talkSPORT exclusive. Yankuba Minte. We know Liverpool have had 2 offers rejected. We've been told tonight Brighton want £80 million for Yankuba Minte, and I don't think Liverpool are going to pay it.
Look,
that is a huge.
The fees are ridiculous, right? It is getting out. It is getting outrageous. It is getting outrageous.
I know, but here's what.
It is getting.
No, but here's
when is it going to stop?
No.
Baleba, 70 million.
No, hold on.
80 million for.
Hold on. Here's what you've got to do: get your recruitment right. Do what the 3 Bs do. Do what the 3 Bs do. They set the benchmark.
I know, but
it's the recruitment.
Okay, Jay.
It is, Jay. It's all about that.
Listen, I hear you, but we've had this discussion before. The top 6 clubs don't sign them players they will wait for them to do the business out of Brentford,
Right, so
out of Brighton,
okay, fine.
and then pay the money.
And then expect to have your fingers burnt or come in,
but now
and they're saying, do you know what,
it's
right?
getting stupid that
No,
any half-decent player in the Premier League is 80.
Well, don't pay it then. Don't pay it. Go and do what they do. That's
Salah. Do you know what I mean?
No, they're out there.
Ain't Haaland.
No, they're out. Oh, but Haaland was different. He had a release clause, right? No Man City fan can claim that that's a great signing because it was a release clause and it was the easiest happen you'll ever have, or one of, right? But it's going to find the nuggets. It's going to find the Casados. That's the key.
What do you mean? You paid 100 million for him.
No, but the point I'm making is it's going to find him before Chelsea paid that 100 million.
As we said,
that's the point I'm making.
They don't.
All I would say about that, Jace,
why not?
Jace, you made the point with Liam Delap. Sometimes those type of players need a sort of middle of the road Premier League club before making the jump up. So
well, then don't moan about the fee. Then don't moan about the fee.
Yeah, I get your point. And listen, I'm not a fan who does moan about fees, actually. I don't care how much a player costs, as long as he delivers.
Yeah, I couldn't care less. The only moan about the fee if it doesn't work. It's the only time you ever hear it.
Agreed.
When it doesn't work.
I just think the fees are just getting ridiculous.
But they're
ridiculous.
I mean, once you get over... but aren't they all ridiculous? Isn't Delap for 45 million... In the grand scheme of things, Chelsea paid 30 a year ago, making 15 million on him. All right, there's wages and there's... But that's now the going rate. Am I right in saying, Crookie, this is Nottingham Forest's most expensive signing ever?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're not signing Haaland. Haaland was he 56?
Well, there was a lot of add-ons in that.
Yeah, I know,
deal.
but the point I'm trying to make is that fees are ridiculous, mate. Whatever way you look at it, fees are ridiculous.
No, especially for British players. Take Aston Villa, for example. They were interested in Taylor Harwood-Bellis down at Southampton.
Yeah.
Southampton's asking price is £30 million. This is a player relegated from the Premier League, conceding goals for fun when Southampton were last there. So Villa, it looks like they're going to walk away from that deal. They're going to sign Joel or Denez instead from the Belgium League because you get better value for money. There is this British tax, this English tax, isn't there?
Yeah,
there is.
No, I agree. I think it's only going to end up hurting English football. That's what I think.
Well, but I've been there over 20 years. This conversation about hurting British football, English football, it's been going on for years and years and years. The problem that you've got is the big clubs will have the bucks to spend, and you're moaning about it, about saying it's ridiculous. Well, it's ridiculous because the clubs like a Brighton, the clubs like Bournemouth, the clubs like Brentford, they will start charging, and good on them, and good luck to them, because that is the tax. That's where they've done the hard work. They've found the nugget. Yeah. They've nurtured the nugget. They've turned this player into I'm going to use Moises Caicedo because it's the closest thing I can think of. Mm-hmm. They found Moises Caicedo, signed him for relative pennies, sold 100 million, right?
Yeah.
Chelsea paid it. Right? I actually think he's worth that, personally.
No,
right?
So do I.
But well done them. It's up to Spurs. Arsenal. When Arsenal just gone out and signed the boy, the Greek lad, right? How much they spend on him?
Modest fee compared to a lot of fees. You know,
right. So they've gone out and they found someone.
Solis,
right?
Yeah.
They've gone out and found someone, I think about 35, 37, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the sort of scouting you want.
Mm.
Yeah.
Anyone can go and can sign Vinny Jr. That ain't good scouting. Anyone knows what he's going to be like, right? You got 150 men. That's not good scouting. That's spending money you know you should get a return on it.
Mm.
Anyway.
All right.
You wait till next season, Jay. You wait till the season after that, the season after that. This is it's not going to slow down.
Surely there's going to surely a bubble will burst.
No.
We say that every summer, and
I
know. Feels like it's been a quiet window because we had the World Cup. There wasn't much business while we were out there, but I think it's still going to be a record spend because the top deals, the Morgan Rogers, the Elliot Anderson, the Tonali, the Savinho, Baleba now you've mentioned, they're distorting the market to a certain point. What I think we're going to see now in this last week of the window, we'll see quite a few smaller deals that go through, loans with obligations.
Well, Enzo Fernandez, that deal looks like it could happen. That ain't going to be a small deal.
No, that could be as high as 140 million now because obviously the deadline to pay 120 has expired. I've always felt, Jason, I don't know if you feel this as well, I don't think Chelsea are desperate to keep him. I don't think he's desperate to stay. I think he'll end up at Man City.
I don't think Chelsea are that concerned right now because if we're going to have to replace him, whatever happens.
Alex Scott, maybe? Would they go back in for Alex Scott? You think money?
I think that almost certainly will happen. But what you will find, that the conversation that we've just had, Bournemouth will probably be charging somewhere now around about 80 to 90 million for him. That's what will happen.
More. Maybe more.
Okay, there you go. That's the point I'm making. That is exactly what I'm saying. And when you want to talk
and that
about
was the last player me and Jamie fell out about, by the way, when I suggested that Tottenham should sign Alex Scott.
Yeah, no, listen, and we'll never fall out over it. But what I'm saying, he was a championship player.
Yeah, but
now, are we talking 1 year in the championship? You're worth 100 million quid.
No, but Morgan.
1 year.
Well, Morgan Rogers played for Middlesbrough, and you look at the
but
growth.
he's done it for 3 seasons.
Yeah, but look at the growth. Look what's happened to him.
I'm not saying that. I think Alex Scott's will
Look at Elliot Anderson.
I know, mate, but he's done it for 1 year. 1 year he's been in the Premier League, Alex Scott, and he's a fantastic player, and he could be a brilliant Premier League player. But 1 year in the Premier League, and people are and you're saying it's 100 million.
How much is Nkomo worth at Liverpool? In your opinion?
I don't know.
I know you don't know. But what I'm saying is he looks like he's probably going to be at some point in 3 figures, doesn't he? Yeah. I know he had a tough game against Newcastle, right? But what is he?
Yeah, Lewis Hall did a job on him, but Lewis Hall's another example.
Are we really paying £100 million for prospects?
Yes, that's what's that. Not prospects, but players that still need to go and improve. Elliot Anderson, Morgan Rogers, these kids, they still will improve. You're not buying the finished article. You're buying players that have shown the potential to what they could end up looking like. I think Elliot Anderson and Morgan Rogers are safe bets. I think they are. I genuinely feel they are.
Okay, but they produced on the international stage for a number of years now. I mean, they're not, they've gone past. Yeah, but they've gone past Alex Scott.
They have, and that's why Alex Scott will probably. That's why I said 70 to 80 million.
I just think it's become a joke.
It is a joke.
It is a joke. It's a joke.
That's how
the rest of the world.
That's how Crookie earns a living.
Yeah, I know. But the rest of the world must look at the Premier League and think, what is actually going on?
I know, Crookie, but
what is going on?
Crookie, can you remember the first time you worked at talkSPORT? What was the biggest signing? Can you remember? I know I'm putting you right under the gun here.
You really are.
I know.
It's probably Alan Shearer for £1 million.
Well, listen, I wasn't working in talkSPORT then, but I'm going back to when United signed Eric Cantona. 1.2 million for Eric Cantona back in the day.
I got you right, by the way.
I
did. He scored a hat-trick the week before when I was marking him.
He did. But when Newcastle paid 15 million quid for Alan Shearer, that was massive money, wasn't it, back in the day? And what does 15 million get you now? I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy where transfer fees have gone. But, the Premier League clubs are prepared to pay it. That's why PSG are driving such a hard bargain for Bradley Barker. They were asking for 145 million at one stage. Liverpool aren't going to pay anywhere near that. But if that deal does go through, you're talking about 120 million quid for a player that I think PSG are quite willing to trade.
It's unbelievable. All right, Crookie, you're a star, mate. Thanks for coming on.